specifics are. But we will open the floor for questions and answers, and whatever you want to discuss, you're welcome to bring it up, including the young people. Yes, sir.
Something that was mentioned in the video that I think is very relevant is the divide, like between feminism and male chauvinism. That seemed to be like the doom for the Black Panthers, and was a contributing factor in issues that might have been plagued the young lords. Do you think that if that were addressed sooner, do you think the young lords would have held together and been more unified going forward?
Well, what divided us, what caused our doom was not that question. What caused our doom was the FBI and all of the factors surrounding Operation COINTELPRO. And as far as that being like a cause inside of the Black Panther Party, it came to a point where the majority of the membership of the Black Panther Party were women.
Yeah, I think that I wanted to add a little bit to this comment, Carlito's comment. In any movement, you need to look at how you transform yourself. If I come to you, and even on the smallest level, I'm a mom. If I come to my children with my baggage, I will be an oppressor to my children because I have not transformed the ideas that I have been indoctrinated with. My growth with my children had been a give and take. When I made a mistake and my son said, "No, mommy, I'm not a little piece of shit," I would say, "Oh, wow, Olguie, you're saying what your mother said to you. How's that affecting him? What do you do to change that? How do you make sure that you don't ever do it again?" It's similar in the movement. If you're in a movement and machismo is playing itself out, and passivity is playing itself out, how do you come to a consensus? If we were all passive, who would have changed the point that said that machismo had to be revolutionary? It wouldn't happen. And one of the things we did learn is dialectical materialism. You have ups and downs, you got good and bad, you got machos and you got passivity. How do we contend with ourselves to transform ourselves? Because one of the things COINTELPRO did do is play on the weaknesses of the individuals who were not transforming. If you had a sexual addiction and you were not addressing that addiction, they will send you some hot papi or hot mommy and they will psych you out until you're telling everything about everything in your pillow talk. If you had a marijuana problem, they will come with a kilo of marijuana and tell you, "Yo, let me share this with you. Oh, you're such a good friend. Oh, blah, blah, blah." That's the problem. So when we talk about making change, whether it's in the student government or whether it's in the organization, the Black African American organization, it's about looking at how do we deal with our ideas. Are our ideas oppressive? Are they effective and constructive? Are they collective-minded? Because you don't want to change a society from one hand to another. Narrow nationalists wanted to have Africans live in their own space, but they wanted to maintain capitalism. They wanted to keep the status quo system so that they can get over. So you wouldn't be working for, let's say, a Trump. You'd be working for Mr. Smith, and Mr. Smith is ripping you off because he's making you work 2 jobs for the price of 1, and he don't want to give you any benefits, and you best not go take extra PP breaks because you're taking money from the agency. These are the things we got to look at, and for your future, because you're the young folks, the way capitalism is going right now is, I'm going to work you to do the job of 3 or 4, and you better do it right because there's so many people unemployed that I can knock you down in a minute. So you will, and I'll tell you, I'm guilty of that. I was a drug counselor for 18 years. And my last 6 years got me extremely ill because I didn't want to lose my job so I wouldn't depend on my children. And my boss has had me working. I'll give you an example. A counselor is supposed to have 25 to 35 people in their caseload. I had 67 people because I was bilingual and they didn't want to hire another bilingual person. You're supposed to run a group of 15. I had groups of 42 people. And then there's the bureaucracy, because you have to always document, which is another piece of bullshit from a perspective of what is fact. You know that you are doing a good job when 90% of your clients graduate. You know that because the stats will tell you that. You don't have to be writing all these reports that could be made up, but that doesn't matter. And I'm saying that you have the power. You have the power to change things, even if it's little by little, even if it's through the student government, making sure that the student government money isn't wasted on stupidities. Because I was in student government and I had to challenge the previous government where they were taking limos to conferences and getting the most top of the line hotel rooms. And I'm saying that doesn't make sense. You take that money and you start a book exchange program, or get some computers for kids who don't have computers at home so they can do their schoolwork. So whichever way, but always understanding that while capitalism is capitalism and it's in its decay right now, which is why you got a Trump as president. While capitalism is in its decay and we're not looking to improve our understanding, our ideology, our personal lives, to be able to make a positive impact and share that information with other people so that they can learn from the mistakes of the past, we're going to end up in the worst set of situations. So that's what I wanted to share, and to help you to understand that everything has a duality. COINTELPRO could not have played us if there were not people who were weak enough to allow themselves to be played. We cannot allow that. And you get to know who your friends and your enemies are, not by what they're saying, but with what they're doing. If their actions meet up with their words, you know that they are living the truth. If their words do not jive with their actions, then you know there's something fishy. Any other questions? Go ahead, Mom.
Yes. In the documentary, I think there were a lot of great examples of how, in fact, you seem to sort of work through some of dealing with different people, right? You had people in the Panthers who were involved, other African Americans who were involved, women who were involved, you know, gay, LGBT people who were involved. How did you manage making those voices and making then your work representative of those identities that were so different, and that, you know, clearly not everyone was jiving with it? How did you know, any advice for how to make the movements representative of the different identities? Because it's like, yes, the revolution should be such and such, but then, you know, often people, like for instance, you know, in socialism, a lot of the critique is that it isn't representative, right? It's like, you know, sort of like middle class or working class white people trying to create a revolution that's now that they have the power, right? So not the wealthy people. So it's like, how then do you create these movements where are representative of more people, and how, in your experience?
That's a very good question, because it's precisely the reason why Brother Fred Hampton was assassinated.
Of course.
Fred Hampton had created the Rainbow Coalition. The Rainbow Coalition is perhaps the one thing that scared the shit out of J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI. In the summer of 1969, Fred Hampton, he was the Black Panther Party chairperson in the Chicago chapter. He has stated that the Rainbow Coalition would eventually merge and be one revolutionary entity. The Rainbow Coalition was the young lords, the young patriots. They were
poor white organization. The Iwakun, they were Asian Americans. The Brown Berets, they were Mexican Americans.
Great Panthers.
The American Indian Movement, AIM, and the Black Panther Party. That comprised the Rainbow Coalition. It was at this time that Huey P. Newton and the Black Panther Party also put out a statement that shocked the shit out of the world. And that was that the struggle for LGBTQ liberation was part and parcel of the revolutionary struggle in the United States. And it came to everyone's surprise that African American revolutionaries saw as an ally the struggle against sexual oppression, which is really actually a stem of women's oppression. There were alliances of different kinds that stood out from the Rainbow Coalition, because this movement was galvanizing. It was in the process of galvanizing. And it was under the very watchful eye, not just of the FBI, but it was under the watchful eye of the CIA as well. While Operation COINTELPRO was going on, Operation Chaos was also taking place. Operation Chaos was launched by the Central Intelligence Agency. And their role was to diffuse the